Imagine a world where a bird you used to hear every morning is gone forever, leaving silent skies and empty spaces in nature's harmony. Extinction is more than losing a species. It is the permanent disappearance of a unique life form, forever altering ecosystems and biodiversity. When a species vanishes, the ecosystem shifts. Plants, animals, and even humans, depending on that balance, are affected in ways we often cannot predict. Losing just one species can trigger a chain reaction, impacting food webs, habitats, and the natural balance of life for many other organisms. Keystone species like bees, wolves, or elephants play essential roles. Without them, ecosystems may change dramatically, affecting countless dependent species. Extinction reduces genetic diversity, making ecosystems less resilient to environmental changes, diseases, and climate variations that affect both wildlife and human populations. Every species holds potential benefits. Medicines, scientific knowledge, and ecological functions can be permanently lost when extinction occurs. Coral reefs are home to thousands of species. Their decline impacts fish populations, tourism, coastal protection, and biodiversity in profound ways. Removing top predators can cause prey populations to grow too large, leading to overconsumption of vegetation and long-term changes in landscapes. Some extinctions happen quickly due to natural events, while others occur slowly due to human impacts like habitat loss, pollution, or climate change. Pollinators such as bees and butterflies are vital. Their decline affects plants, food crops, and the animals that rely on these resources. Extinction also carries cultural and emotional consequences. Humans may lose connections to animals important for recreation, education, and inspiration. Each lost species reduces opportunities for research, learning about evolution, adaptation, and survival strategies that could benefit future generations. Invasive species often accelerate extinction by competing with native species, spreading disease, or changing habitats, emphasizing the importance of ecosystem balance. When one species disappears, others may follow, creating a domino effect that highlights the interconnectedness of all life within ecosystems. Ecosystem engineers like beavers build wetlands, creating habitats for many species. Losing them alters natural processes and reduces biodiversity. Soil health declines when species are lost. Insects, worms, and fungi play crucial roles in nutrient cycling and maintaining plant growth. Oceans are particularly sensitive. Overfishing or warming waters can lead to the disappearance of certain fish species, affecting marine food webs. Freshwater ecosystems suffer too. Losing fish or amphibians can allow algae or invasive plants to dominate, reducing biodiversity and ecosystem health. Extinction can indirectly worsen climate change. Species that store carbon or maintain ecosystem balance are lost, weakening natural climate resilience. Economic impacts are real. Fisheries decline, crops are affected, and tourism suffers when species essential for livelihoods disappear. Extinct species can leave ecological ghosts. Their absence creates gaps that affect other species and environmental balance for years or decades. Millions of years of evolution are erased when species vanish, reducing biodiversity and the potential for future adaptations. Some extinctions are preventable. Conservation, habitat protection, and sustainable policies can help species survive and ecosystems remain balanced. Even the smallest insects contribute to ecosystem health. Pollination, decomposition, and nutrient cycling rely on their presence to support life. Predator-prey balance is delicate. Losing one predator can cause prey populations to grow unchecked, overconsume plants, and alter habitats permanently. Island ecosystems are fragile. Unique species with limited ranges can vanish quickly when humans introduce new predators or change the environment. Extinction affects evolution. Vacant ecological niches may be filled by invasive species, reducing natural biodiversity and preventing new species from thriving. Mutualistic relationships are broken when species disappear. For example, plants lose their specific pollinators, sometimes leading to further declines in other species. Apex ocean predators, like sharks, maintain marine ecosystem health. Without them, prey populations grow unchecked, affecting the balance of underwater life. Some extinctions are warnings of larger environmental stress. They indicate ecosystems are under pressure and require conservation and human intervention. Diseases may spread more easily after extinction. Species that naturally control pests or pathogens disappear, affecting both wildlife and human health. Ecosystem services decline with extinction. Water purification, flood protection, and carbon storage can be reduced, impacting humans and wildlife all. Some extinctions are silent warnings. When a species disappears, it signals broader environmental stress, indicating ecosystems are under pressure humans might not immediately perceive. Keystone predators like wolves maintain balance. Without them, prey populations explode, vegetation declines, and landscapes transform in ways that disrupt countless dependent species over time. Insects are disappearing globally, and their extinction threatens pollination, food production, and nutrient cycles, showing how even small creatures are vital for ecosystem survival. The loss of coral species affects entire oceans. Fish lose habitats, coastal protection diminishes, and marine biodiversity declines in a cascading effect with long-term consequences. Amphibians, sensitive to pollution and disease, vanish quietly, removing vital links in aquatic ecosystems and leaving frogs, salamanders, and newts absent from their ecological roles. Extinction changes predator-prey relationships. Herbivores may overconsume vegetation, causing erosion, soil degradation, and altered water flow, ultimately transforming entire landscapes over decades. Human activity accelerates extinctions through deforestation, urbanization, and pollution, permanently altering habitats while outpacing nature's ability to adapt or regenerate lost species naturally. Some species regulate carbon. Their disappearance reduces natural carbon storage, indirectly intensifying climate change and creating a feedback loop that threatens other life forms globally. Invasive species thrive when natives vanish, ecosystems lose balance, predators disappear, and competition intensifies, often leading to multiple additional species losses in rapid succession. Pollination collapses when bees and other pollinators disappear, directly impacting food crops, wild plants, and the animals that rely on them, creating a chain reaction of scarcity. Soil insects and decomposers vanish silently, disrupting nutrient cycles, reducing fertility, and making ecosystems less resilient, with consequences for plants, animals, and human agriculture alike. Extinction reduces biodiversity, weakening ecosystems' ability to recover from drought, disease, and climate shocks, leaving them vulnerable to collapse under environmental stress. Forests lose key species like elephants or primates, altering seed dispersal, plant growth, and canopy structure, fundamentally changing landscapes over decades without these crucial engineers. Some species act as natural pest controllers. Their extinction allows populations of rodents or insects to explode, affecting crops, human health, and overall ecosystem stability. Migration patterns are disrupted when species disappear, affecting seasonal interactions, predator-prey relationships, and resource availability across entire continents, causing ripple effects far beyond local habitats. Marine extinctions impact humans directly. Fisheries collapse when predatory fish vanish, livelihoods are lost, and local economies that rely on seafood face significant challenges and scarcity. Amphibian declines lead to insect overpopulation, reducing crop yields, increasing disease risk, and demonstrating how small, overlooked species can have large-scale impacts on human systems. The loss of large herbivores changes vegetation patterns, reduces grassland or savanna health, and creates imbalances that affect countless dependent species and ecological processes. Extinction can alter fire regimes. Fewer grazers may allow vegetation buildup, increasing wildfire risk and intensity, ultimately reshaping ecosystems in ways that threaten remaining species. Coral bleaching and loss reduce marine biodiversity, diminish fisheries, and eliminate habitats for countless fish, invertebrates, and microorganisms, showing interconnected vulnerabilities in ocean ecosystems. Some extinct species take with them unique chemical compounds. Potential life-saving medicines and scientific discoveries vanish permanently, leaving humanity without knowledge they could have provided. Extinction affects cultural heritage. Animals and plants central to traditions, mythology, or spirituality disappear, erasing part of human identity and collective memory. Human health can be indirectly impacted. Loss of predator species allows disease-carrying animals to thrive, increasing exposure to pathogens and zoonotic outbreaks. Extinction accelerates other species' loss. When one disappears, symbiotic partners or dependent species may follow, creating domino effects that multiply ecological disruption. Some species maintain water quality, their absence leads to algae blooms, oxygen depletion, and collapse of aquatic systems critical for humans and wildlife alike. Genetic diversity disappears when species vanish, reducing resilience to future disease, environmental change, or climate shifts, limiting evolution and adaptation potential globally. Ecosystems lose redundancy. Fewer species performing similar roles reduces resilience and the ability to bounce back from shocks. Extinction often leaves invisible scars. Ecosystems may appear intact, yet critical functions like pollination, predation, and nutrient cycling are quietly collapsing without notice. Some species maintain soil structure, their disappearance leads to erosion, poor water retention, and plant decline, ultimately destabilizing entire terrestrial ecosystems over decades. Extinction reduces redundancy. Losing multiple species performing similar roles makes ecosystems fragile, unable to adapt to environmental shocks or recover from disasters effectively. Marine extinctions affect human survival, fisheries decline, coastal communities suffer, and disrupted food webs threaten global protein sources and economic stability. Insects disappearing globally threaten pollination, seed dispersal, and nutrient cycling, demonstrating that even tiny creatures hold enormous ecological and human importance. Some species buffer climate impacts. Losing them increases vulnerability to extreme weather, flooding, or drought, showing how interconnected biodiversity and climate resilience truly are. Extinction often triggers secondary losses. Dependent species fail, food webs collapse, and ecosystems transform irreversibly, illustrating the fragile balance of life on Earth. Coral reef loss cascades, fish populations decline, coastal protections weaken, and local economies reliant on tourism or fisheries suffer significant consequences. Predator disappearance causes herbivore overpopulation, overgrazing, and plant community decline, leading to soil degradation and a complete reshaping of local landscapes. Extinction diminishes cultural knowledge. Indigenous communities relying on certain species for medicine, food, or rituals lose traditions that connect humans to nature deeply. Microbial extinctions disrupt decomposition and nutrient recycling, weakening soil fertility and affecting plant growth, demonstrating that even microscopic life is essential to ecosystems. Keystone herbivores shape landscapes. Without them, grasslands, savannas, and forests shift dramatically, affecting countless other species and ecological processes over time. When apex predators vanish, prey populations expand unchecked, leading to vegetation collapse, biodiversity loss, and changes in the physical environment over decades. Extinction leaves genetic gaps. Unique adaptations, behaviors, and evolutionary history vanish, reducing biodiversity's ability to respond to climate change, disease, and ecological stress. Invasive species often thrive when native species vanish, further destabilizing ecosystems and accelerating secondary extinctions that compound biodiversity loss. Pollinator loss affects crops, wild plants, and dependent species, ultimately threatening global food security, human nutrition, and ecological balance. Freshwater extinctions impact ecosystem health. Fish, amphibians, and insects disappear, leading to oxygen depletion, algae blooms, and collapsing aquatic communities essential for humans and wildlife. Extinction affects ecosystem services. Water purification, flood protection, carbon storage, and soil fertility all decline, showing humans are directly impacted by species loss. Every species, large or small, contributes to ecological stability. When even one disappears, the balance is disrupted, and ripple effects spread widely. Forest composition changes, seed dispersers vanish, altering tree diversity, canopy structure, and long-term forest health, impacting climate, wildlife, and human communities simultaneously. Extinction accelerates climate change. Species that sequester carbon, regulate temperatures, or stabilize soils are lost, reducing the Earth's natural resilience. Emotional and cultural loss accompanies extinction. Humans lose inspiration, connection to nature, and opportunities for study, art, or recreation linked to vanished species. Extinction creates trophic cascades. When one species disappears, predators, prey, and competitors are affected, reshaping food webs and ecological interactions. Migration patterns are disrupted. Species disappearance affects seasonal interactions, predator-prey dynamics, and resource availability across entire continents. Soil decomposition slows when essential organisms vanish. Nutrient cycles are disrupted, plants grow weaker, and ecosystems struggle to sustain wildlife and human agriculture. Some species act as ecosystem engineers. Their disappearance removes habitats for numerous dependent species, fundamentally altering landscapes and biodiversity across regions. Extinction reduces resilience. Ecosystems with fewer species performing critical roles cannot recover quickly from droughts, fires, disease, or human disturbances. Microhabitats disappear alongside species. Plants, insects, and small animals reliant on these niches may also decline or vanish, compounding biodiversity loss. Apex predator loss destabilizes marine ecosystems. Unchecked prey overconsume resources, causing algal blooms and habitat loss. Extinction often creates cascading effects when one species disappears and its ecological partners face disruption, altering entire ecosystems over time. Some species maintain soil structure, and without them, erosion increases, water retention decreases, and plant communities struggle. Keystone species loss transforms landscapes as forests, wetlands, and grasslands change in composition and function, affecting countless organisms. Extinction reduces redundancy, so ecosystems with fewer species performing similar roles cannot absorb shocks and become more vulnerable. Marine ecosystems suffer when losing apex predators destabilizes food webs, allowing prey populations to overconsume resources. Pollinators disappearing threatens global food systems as crops, wild plants, and dependent species fail. Freshwater species loss alters water quality, causing algae blooms, oxygen depletion, and collapsing aquatic communities. Extinction erases evolutionary knowledge as unique adaptations, behaviors, and survival strategies vanish permanently. Invasive species often exploit extinctions, as displaced natives allow invaders to dominate and reduce biodiversity further. Soil decomposers disappearing disrupt nutrient cycling, so plants grow weaker and ecosystem productivity declines. Forest composition changes when seed dispersers vanish, reducing tree diversity and altering canopy structure. Apex predator loss destabilizes terrestrial and marine ecosystems as unchecked prey alter vegetation water cycles and biodiversity. Extinction affects human culture as folklore traditions and spiritual practices tied to species are lost. Migration patterns are disrupted when species disappearance alters seasonal interactions, predator-prey dynamics, and resource availability. Ecosystem engineers like beavers or elephants create vital habitats, and their extinction removes shelter and breeding grounds for many species. Extinction reduces ecosystem resilience, leaving systems less capable of recovering from climate events, disease outbreaks, or human disturbances. Microhabitats disappear alongside species as small plants, insects, and microorganisms vanish, compounding biodiversity loss. Coral reef loss triggers cascading failures as fish populations decline, coastal protection weakens, and human communities face insecurity. Extinction accelerates climate change impacts when species that regulate carbon, stabilize soils, or buffer extremes disappear. Small species, often overlooked, maintain vital functions like pollination, decomposition, and nutrient cycling, showing that every organism matters. Extinction disrupts trophic cascades, so when one species vanishes, predators prey and competitors must adapt, migrate, or disappear themselves. Human economies are affected as fisheries collapse, agriculture suffers, and tourism declines when essential species disappear. Extinction erases potential scientific knowledge as genetic material. Unique behaviors and evolutionary experiments are lost forever. Keystone herbivore loss changes vegetation dynamics, transforming forests, savannas, and grasslands and affecting nutrient cycles. Extinction alters fire regimes as fewer herbivores allow vegetation to accumulate, increasing wildfire intensity and frequency. Soil and water systems degrade when decomposers and filter feeders vanish, slowing nutrient cycling and reducing water quality. Extinction reduces cultural and emotional value, as losing species diminishes human experiences, inspiration, and connections to nature. Predation balance collapses when missing predators allow prey populations to explode and overconsume vegetation, causing ecosystem degradation. Extinction is permanent. No matter the efforts after a species vanishes, its genetic information, ecological role, and evolutionary history are lost forever, leaving permanent gaps. Ecosystem balance weakens. Losing even a single species can destabilize food webs, alter nutrient cycles, and trigger long-term ecological consequences for countless organisms. Human survival is linked to biodiversity. Species provide food, medicine, water purification, and ecosystem services critical to maintaining life and well-being. Some species act as ecosystem engineers. Their disappearance removes habitats, alters landscapes, and affects the survival of many other species that depend on them. Extinction amplifies climate change impacts. Species that store carbon or regulate temperatures vanish, making ecosystems more vulnerable to storms, droughts, and extreme heat events. The loss of pollinators threatens food security. Crops, wild plants, and dependent animals fail, demonstrating the deep connection between biodiversity and human survival. Freshwater extinctions disrupt aquatic ecosystems. Fish, amphibians, and invertebrates disappear, causing oxygen depletion, algal blooms, and cascading declines in water quality and biodiversity. Genetic diversity shrinks when species vanish, evolution slows, adaptability decreases, and ecosystems become less resilient to diseases, climate shifts, and environmental changes. Extinction triggers trophic cascades. Predators, prey, and competitors all face disruption, reshaping ecosystems and altering the natural order that evolved over millennia. Cultural knowledge is lost. Indigenous communities lose species central to traditions, medicine, and spiritual practices, eroding connections to nature and history. Invasive species capitalize on extinctions. Without competition or predators, they dominate habitats, further reducing biodiversity and preventing ecosystems from naturally recovering. Soil fertility declines, decomposers vanish, nutrient cycles are disrupted, and plants grow poorly, affecting ecosystem productivity and human agriculture simultaneously. Forest and grassland composition changes. Seed dispersers and herbivores vanish, reducing diversity and altering canopy, undergrowth, and habitat structure for many organisms. Apex predator loss destabilizes ecosystems. Unchecked prey populations overconsume vegetation, reduce biodiversity, and transform landscapes over decades, impacting ecological processes and services. Coral reef decline causes cascading marine failures. Fish populations decrease, coastal protection weakens, and livelihoods dependent on reefs are threatened. Extinction reduces ecosystem redundancy. Fewer species performing essential roles make habitats fragile and more vulnerable to shocks, diseases, and environmental changes. Even tiny organisms matter. Microbial extinctions affect nutrient cycling, decomposition, and soil health, proving that no species is too small to influence ecosystems. Extinction affects migration patterns. Species disappearance alters seasonal behaviors, predator-prey interactions, and resource distribution across continents, reshaping ecological networks globally. Ecosystem services decline. Water filtration, flood protection, carbon storage, and nutrient cycling all suffer, directly impacting human survival and well-being. Fire and flood dynamics are altered. Missing herbivores and ecosystem engineers increase fuel loads, water runoff, and vegetation buildup, reshaping habitats permanently. Extinction erases potential discoveries. Lost species take with them unique adaptations, chemical compounds, and ecological strategies that could have inspired medicine, technology, or conservation solutions. Human economies suffer. Fisheries collapse, agricultural yields drop, and tourism declines when species essential to livelihoods disappear permanently. Extinction accelerates other species' loss. Symbiotic relationships fail, dependent organisms vanish, and cascading effects ripple through ecosystems. Some species maintain water quality. Without them, algae blooms, oxygen depletion, and habitat collapse threaten aquatic life and human water resources. Soil structure deteriorates, species that aerate, decompose, or cycle nutrients vanish, leading to erosion, poor plant growth, and long-term ecological degradation. Extinction reshapes landscapes. Forests, wetlands, coral reefs, and grasslands lose key organisms, permanently altering habitats for countless species. Marine ecosystems become unstable. Missing apex predators and filter feeders disrupt food webs, decrease biodiversity, and reduce ecosystem productivity for humans and wildlife. Extinction reduces resilience. Ecosystems with fewer species performing essential roles cannot recover quickly from environmental shocks, climate change, or human disturbance. Mutualistic relationships vanish, plants lose pollinators, predators lose prey, and intricate interactions deviate.